So I'm having a chat with Aled of Henry's Funeral Shoe. How are you?
I'm okay. Yeah, a little bit stressed out this morning, but it's all right.
Yeah, these things happen. But the big news is we've been playing a single of yours called Hey, What's Your Pleasure? Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
Oh, it's just sort of we needed to get back out there and um, just to show that we're still active because we've been inactive for the last couple of years when our mum, well, we had COVID, then our mum got ill. Just as we were coming out of COVID, we started gigging again and blah blah blah, and then took some time off to look after our mum, and then she passed away. So we just kind of like didn't know if we wanted to just carry on. Um, but we clearly did. So we were like, right, this is our sort of calling card again. So we recorded the single and put it out to start getting momentum for later this year. Well, mostly next year, though, obviously, because this year's almost at its end. So for next year and in preparation for a new EP or an album. So yeah, and we just wanted a bit of a stomper. So that's what we decided to put out.
Yeah, good, good. It's glad to we're glad to hear that you are back. I think it's three records that you've done previously. How are we looking at new music at the moment and how much is done?
We've got well, it's a weird one. So we've done three albums and an EP, and when we recorded the single, we recorded a couple of more songs, but they tended to be a bit more on our albums. We've got some slower songs and some upbeat songs, which we don't play the slower songs live because our set tends to be more frenetic and just in your face, kind of like a Rory Gallagher thing. We wanted to go to that's what we aimed towards, I suppose. I mean, really intense. Even though Rory does his solo stuff, I suppose, or slow stuff. But yeah, so we've got quite a few songs actually, but it's the same old thing. We're just deciding what we want to put on the album. Are some too slow or they're not heavy enough? Um, yeah, so yeah, it's just basically just you just always write in really. So we might take a different approach though because we found that we always we've released albums, whereas people tend to be releasing EPs now, like a selection of EPs, because yeah, so yeah, we're just taking a different approach, really. So we recording new music. Obviously, that's just something you do when you write, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And how are the tracks at the moment sounding in comparison to the previous three? And do you know what direction you're wanting to go in?
No, we never pick a direction as such. It's just like how the songs sound. So the influences remain the same. I mean, we've been. I don't like the term blues rock really. I just think of us as a rock and roll band. And for instance, one of the songs we've got done is very much like a Faces slower, so the day something off like Nods' Wink, some of the slower stuff there. And it's again, it's just a mix. I would like to put strings on this one, which we've not done before. I would really like to put strings on this EP or album. But that's the only difference, really. It's just literally trying to write the best songs you can write and getting them down.
Yeah, no, most
There's,
definitely.
there's never, there's never, there's never any sort of thought into sort of changing things up in a big way. So the biggest thought we give is if we write a song, can we play it live? Um, and yeah, that's the biggest consideration we sort of we give to it.
Yeah, and you've touched on the writing side of things. So when it comes to writing, how do tracks normally start off for you guys?
Well, it's more collaborative now. In the early days, it was literally something like I would write, I suppose, the majority of everything in some ways, and even have the say on the arrangements. But we've been together so long, it's more collaborative. So it depends. It depends. I usually like sort of write it on my own, and then I'll bring it to my brother, and we'll put it in the rehearsal room, and then see how that sort of goes. And so that always develops from there. And then sometimes we just in a room jamming and just materializes from there. And then you go home and work on the lyrics a bit, and then we tend to always put a phone in the room and listen to how the arrangement is and how things can change and all the rest of it. And yeah, it's the same process all the time. It's just to be your own sort of critic, really. You know.
Yeah, and I know a lot of artists tend to find the lyrics side of things the most challenging part of songwriting? What's it like for you?
You know what? That's a really good point. Is I think because our music is very. I always said this. I was like, if we were an American band, we probably would have written like 50 albums by now because the music tends to gravitate towards that side. But coming from like the Welsh bands, you can't really write about rivers in Wales and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It has a different type of thing. So, and it takes the lyrics do take a while actually to make sure that they sound authentic, if that makes sense, and they don't feel a bit cheapened. Um, so it is a frustration where you've got like dozens of riffs and songs and stuff, but they're not, for want of a better word, they're not British enough sounding.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of something I feel is the biggest thing that's held us back, or held me back. Um, but yeah, it's funny you touched on that. That's something that's always sort of. But then when you come to the end of the song and you've written and you're happy with this, it just feels a bit more authentic rather than just chucking a couple of things together to make it sound to rhyme with Mississippi or wherever.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's 2008 you two kind of formed this band. How much has changed when it comes to the music, the process, or the kind of the working relationship you have with your brother?
Well, there's 10 years between us, and it was always like I always felt I was in charge because obviously I was 10 years older. I've been in countless bands. I've done session work in London and I'd seen the industry from different angles and stuff. And so it's completely flipped now, where like I said before, it's more collaborative. Um, so it hasn't changed in that way in the sense that it's just more collaborative and a little less like bare chested, if that makes sense. Because the way I always think of it, and like I'm a music nerd, so I listen to like. Whereas my brother is just a Who fan or a Creedence fan as such. I'm listening, I'm going through stage of listening to a lot of rap again, political rap um and southern rock, early southern rock. So it's like I'm always thinking of like how the song will sound in the studio and different instrumentation and things like that. And he kind of fair play. He just lets me kind of like lead on that because I suppose I have the years, the for it or the ears. Sorry, it's my accent and years and years. It sounds the same word. But yeah, and then step back and then I trust him then, and he's like, if things don't sound as right, and you know, um, he's still a music fan, but yeah, it's not changed in a big way apart from I think we more instrumentation and that's about it really. Yeah, yeah, I suppose like just trying to write hookier songs. That's the only thing I've always thought about is like trying to make the songs as hooky as possible, you know.
Mm.
So that hasn't changed really.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. And obviously now that you're back and releasing music, you'll want to be doing some shows. What's your plan for getting out there and doing some gigs?
Well, as part of it's a long story, but the whole infrastructure fell away during COVID. We had a really good agent, European agent, um, that just we was placing magnificent shows in Europe, but he decided to like scale back and things. Um, so we're just trying to get back. We're looking for booking agents and festivals, and we don't necessarily need a manager. I don't think anyone needs a manager right now unless you're of a certain stat level. You just need a good booking agent. You certainly don't need a record label as such. So that is literally our go-to now is to look for new booking agents and play more festivals and gigs. That's it.
Yeah, and as you were touring for many years before COVID, is there
Mm.
anywhere that you didn't get to that you want to get to at some point?
Well, I don't think we're going to anymore, but in 2020 we had like a tour of Russia planned, and obviously COVID and then the war. I can't remember which one came first, to be honest. But yeah, that's sort of for the kibosh on that. and some Slovenia as well. But we toured the, Europe. We did so many countries. America, we did a lot there. But Mississippi, we managed to do a tour in Mississippi, so it's kind of like a dream, that isn't it? So we've I know it sounds a bit arrogant, really, but we just kind of want to do what we were doing, because we achieved so much and enjoyed it. Um, that I just think when the infrastructure fell away, um, when you're on the wheel and you're gigging all the time and touring and performing and stuff, you take a step back and you just like you realize how full on it is, and you think, like, do we want to do that again? Especially with there just seemed to be a lot of tragedy that happened around, not just with our mother, but with friends and other families. And it was just, I don't know, I think we were just emotionally drained. And then we got into the practice room again, and we were like, oh, this feels nice and good. And then you just want the excitement back, really, because it's so exciting playing live and being around like-minded people. That was the thing with COVID; it took all that away,
Hmm.
and you miss all those like-minded people. So yeah, it was just like, no, we definitely want to do this again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Good. And it's been a pleasure having a chat with you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great to speak to you as well. Thanks for the questions.